Welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to be going through all of that stuff down there. I got a whole mess of suspension parts. Most of the front suspension. I got new rear leaf springs. I finished putting together my third member. So I need to get the axle figured out and all that stuff. So today what we'll be doing is we'll be going through and getting some of the stuff prepped. So at the junkyard, these are the shock caps that the shocks actually mount to up in the engine bay. So I need to clean those up and get them painted and make them look good. And we'll go through the boxes of stuff over there and see where the day takes us. Really amazing how much money you can spend, how many boxes stuff shows up in, and how little it actually looks like in person. So you may have seen, but I ordered a suspension kit from Streeter Track. Sean has been phenomenal to work with, very, very helpful, always willing to answer whatever rudimentary, silly questions that I have. So I ordered some of his stuff, and we'll go through it here. So from Street or Track specifically, got some adjustable strut rods. And what's great about these is instead of having the rubber bushings, it has some Heim joints or monoballs, if you will. So there's no flex forward and backward like you get with the OEM stuff, which is great because the wheel, if there's a wheel, caster is kind of its orientation this way. You don't get adjustable caster as you're hitting the brakes and accelerating and doing car-like stuff, which is exactly what happens with the OEM stuff. So got those from Sean. Lower control arms with replaceable Moog problem solver ball joints on the bottom there. Fully adjustable upper control arms. Have the provisions to add coilovers to those if I choose in the future, just for the sake of cost right now. I'm going to the typical shock and spring setup, similar to OEM. This is from Open Tracker. These are the spring perches. I know this is best videography you've ever seen. So there are bearings in here instead of a regular bushing, which tends to bind. So I got those. That is the Shelby or Arning drop template. I already have the Arning drop on my car, so won't necessarily need that, but it's a nice piece of kit anyway. These are Holly brand, I believe. Sport springs, 600-pound springs. So should lower the car nicely, give a reasonably firm ride without being too over the top. Have some poly coil insulators, 3/8 of an inch thick. Go on top of it there, right, for the top of the shock tower. I also got a 1-inch, this is a Scott Drake. It came in the kit. I guess that's the partner Sean decided to work with, but it's 1-inch front sway bar with, you can't really see it in there. That's, anyway, poly bushings and attachments and all that stuff. Additionally, what I got not from Sean, I think I got most of the stuff from CJ Pony Parts. These are 4.5 leaf mid-eye 1-inch drop springs. Got new shackles, new U-bolts. Those are the bolts for the, that end of the leaf spring over there. Got some gas adjust shocks. Nothing special there, really. But they were a good price. KYB is a good company. Heard good things about gas adjust rather. So went with those, and then needed new plates. This is what secures the leaf springs to the axle, and then also this little bit right here is where the shock goes. But anyway, that is the stuff that I got. So really excited. I still need to get spindles, which I would really like to get What are they called? The spindles from Sean. I forgot what they call them. It's from Street Track. But that's another $450. I will be getting my brake system from him. Let's give you something a little bit more interesting to look at. Ooh, engine bay. Hold on a second. Just realized that was kind of a silly thing to be looking at. So anyway, long story short, I need to get my spindles from Sean. They are more robust than the OEM ones. They are not inexpensive, but they use the bigger bearings. They're stronger. I will be absolutely hammering on this car, so I think I'll be spending the money on those. I also need to get a brake kit from him. He does a really, really good job of putting together a comprehensive kit depending on the level by which you're going to be hammering on your car. I'll be going 13-inch front, 12-inch rear with the integrated drum parking brake. So you need to get spindles, brakes, wheels, and tires. I've decided I'm going to go with 17x8 mini lights from ET Mags. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, once we get all of that money spent, then I'll be able to get the car on the ground, and then I'm going to be starting some body work, all the body work. I'll get everything hung appropriately and start blocking and sanding and filling and all of that stuff. I don't really want to do it now because it is on the body dolly and it's not the most stable thing in the world. So I'm going to be crawling around on top of it and in it and all of that stuff. I want to get back on the ground first. So that is the next steps. But for right now, let's go ahead and clean up those shock support things, get them down to bare metal and get them painted up. All right, so I only did one of them. This one is obviously still dirty and what I pulled out of the car. And then this, you can see it's much shinier. There's a little bit of pitting because there's some surface rust, which I'm fine with. Doesn't bother me any. Chase the threads, got them all cleaned out. I have a couple little shorty bolts in there. That way, when I paint this, the threads stay nice and clean. So I'm gonna clean this one up off camera, and then we'll toss some paint on here and see how she goes. Fusion! All in one. Paint, primer, gloss black. We're gonna paint it with this. Should match the end bay nicely. See how she goes. I'm not gonna be too heavy-handed with this. It's better to add a couple thin coats instead of one big honking coat. You know what? And safety third. Let me get my respirator on. Okay. All right, we'll let that dry up for a few minutes, toss another coat or two on, and we're good to go. Okie doke. So I got those painted up, a couple coats on there. Not much else to say about that. So, yeah, they're painted. All right, that's another episode of Joe Wants to Be an Extra on Breaking Bad. Appreciate y'all coming along. Really excited about the suspension stuff, and looking forward to getting the shock tower things bolted up, and then the rest of the suspension installed, and saving my pennies for some spindles and brakes, and the wheels and tires, and then vroom vroom noises. Anyway,
Appreciate y'all coming along. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later.